Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amira Afrika binti Yaakob, entry number 1812298. So today I will present my research method proposal, which is social media as one of motivation factor among youths to travel to Langkawi Island during pandemic COVID-19. Before we start, this is my table of content of slide, which start from introduction, framework, methodology, data analysis and finding, conclusion and references. For the introduction, tourism is the third biggest contributor to Malaysia GDP after manufacturing and commodities. In recent years, the tourism industry in Malaysia was keen to capitalize on this trend. However, the outbreak of COVID-19 in 2020 has led to plummeted point of tourist arrival. So social media have a direct impact on travel choices. The role of social media are labeled guide and approver. Users purposefully use social media to explore and get information before or during the trip, and therefore social media are given the role of guide, according to Liu et al. In 2019. So these are the statistic tourist arrival in Malaysia starting from 2008 to 2020, and the another one is tourist arrival in Langkawi in 2020. So as we can see, tourist arrival in Malaysia are plummetedly dropped starting from 2008 to 2020. As you can see, 2020 only 4.3 million tourist arrival, and tourist arrival in Langkawi, as we can see, in April it's plummeted drop. As we know, movement control order is start in March. These are from tourism. This statistic are from Tourism Malaysia corporate site 2021 and statistic from Statistik Lembaga Pembangunan Langkawi in 2021 also. Next, moving on to the Sustainable Development Goals. This proposal can relate to SDG 9, which is industry, innovation and infrastructure, whereas the aim is to build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. Moving on to the scope of study. My scope of study will focus on youth traveler, domestic tourism, role of social media and motivation to travel. So why I choose this, because I want to see either youth traveler willing to travel during pandemic COVID-19 in domestic tourism, and I want to see either social media will influence them to travel, and what are the role of social media. As a significance of study, there are two. The first one is academic. So the analysis can be the references for future researcher, and the second one is for tourism industry, where this study will improve the condition of the tourism in order to boost domestic tourism in the future. This is the problem statement. According to the US Embassy Malaysia in 2021, Malaysia has implemented entry and movement restriction on all foreign nationals in response to the COVID-19 outbreak. As we know that Malaysia government already announced the movement control order in March 2020, and Langkawi saw a steep drop off in arrival during 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, according to HTL in 2021. As we already saw the statistic just now, there are drop off in tourist arrival. Then social media is an important mechanism for the tourism industry due to its changing the way tourists are using social media sites to share their tourism experiences, according to Swampang in 2020. Therefore, this scenario changed the behavior of tourists, which is why nowadays tourism and hospitality companies are fully integrating on social media to meet the changing needs and desire of customer, stated by Jeff et al. In 2020. Next, research question and research objective. There are two research questions. The first one is, what is the relationship between role of social media and the travel motivation? And the second one is, what is the level factors affecting mood choice of traveling during pandemic COVID-19? And for the research objective, there are two also. The first one is to investigate the relationship between role of social media and travel motivation. The second one is to measure the level factors affecting mood choice of traveling during pandemic COVID-19. Moving on to the framework, there are 3 variables, 2 independent variable and 1 dependent variable. The first independent variable is role of social media, and the second independent variable is pandemic COVID-19. So for the dependent variable is motivation to travel. Next, I will talk on the methodology of my research, where the instrument is questionnaire and the research approach is quantitative. So my respondents are among youths in Malaysia, where the population is 15,100,000 and 1,000, where I got this data from Ministry of Youth and Sport Malaysia. And the sample size, I calculate use the Rasov calculator, and the sample size become 271 respondents. However, due to the limited of time, the respondent only 30 respondents. And sampling method, I use convenient sample, where it is easy for me to get and to reach, because my circle mostly among youth in Malaysia. So this is my questionnaire. There are 4 sections available. The first section is about social demography and frequency of visiting Langkawi Island. There are 7 number of questions, and it was self-developed. And section B is about role of social media, and there are 8 questions, and it was adapted from Guru Raja in 2015. For section C is about pandemic COVID-19. There are 6 number of questions, and it was adapted from Abdullah, Dais and Mulay in 2020. And the last section is section D. It's about motivation to travel, and there are 6 questions, and it was adapted from Aziz, and the year is not determined. Next is the reliability of my questionnaire. So as you can see that my Cronbach alpha is above than 0.7. So according to Sekaran and Bugi in 2016, the level of Cronbach alpha, if the level of Cronbach alpha is above 0.7, it is good. So next is the social demographic profile of my respondent. The first one is gender. As we can see that most of my respondent is female, which is 86.7%, and the rest is male, 13.3%. Next is age. Most of my respondents are among 23 years old, which is 43.3%, and the least one is 24 years old, which is only 10%. Next is marital status and education. So for marital status, most of them are not married, which is single, which is 86.7%, and the rest is married, which is 13.3%. For education, most of them are in degree, which is 86.7%, and there are 2% that are in the same, which is for diploma and secondary, which is 3.3%. The rest is master, which is 6.7%. Next, for occupation and travel partner, most of my respondents are among students, which is 83.3%. And for the travel partner, most of them are preferred to travel with their friend, which is 46.7%. And other than that, they are preferred to travel with their family, which is 33.3%. And last, for social demographic profile, the question is, how many times did you visit Langkawi Island for the past 12 months? So 36.7% that never visit Langkawi Island for the past 12 months, and 40% had travel to Langkawi once, and 16.7% travel twice to Langkawi Island, and lastly is more than 3 times is 6.7%. Next is descriptive analysis and person correlation. For person correlation, I want to see the relationship between the role of social media and travel motivation. As we can see here, is the significant value is higher than 0.0005. So it means that the strength of significant value is very weak. And for the descriptive analysis, I want to see the level of factors affecting mode of choice for traveling during pandemic COVID-19. So the highest mean is safety and security before COVID-19, which is 5.37. Last but not least is conclusion. There are limitations during my research, which is limited of time. This is due to the pandemic COVID-19. And next is limited number of respondents, where I only got 30 respondents for my research. And for the recommendation, if this research is conducted by interview and future research can widen the respondent, the data will be more accurate. And for the conclusion, there is weak relationship between variables and there is no significance. I think that's all from me. Thank you.